It's just in. Our sources have just informed us that the Missouri Compromise has finally been established as of the date March 3rd, 1820. Our sources tell us that none of this would have been possible without the help and leadership of Henry Clay, who we are told by the Senate members really helped bring it all together. Now live from the scene,
Right now,
here's
we are
Ashley.
currently waiting for Mr. Clay to come out. And there he is. Mr. Clay, may we have a word with you 1 minute?
Yeah, for sure.
Why did you help take the leader role when it came to getting this law passed?
Because the need for organization within the state slavery system needed to be dealt with because it would not only slow down our progress as a state in growing, also to help prevent the separation between the people in the North and South.
Wow. Thank you for your time, Mr. Clay.
Yeah, no problem.
Back to
Thanks,
you.
Ashley. And now we bring you live to our reporter Javi at the scene of the 1850 Compromise, where he's having an exclusive interview with Henry Clay himself.
Previously, on September 18, 1850, the Compromise and the Fugitive Slave Act happened. What is this, may you ask? Here with Senator Henry Clay, he will tell you what, who, and where it is.
I introduced a series of resolutions on January 29th, 1850 in an attempt to seek a compromise and avoid a crisis between the North and South. As part of the Compromise of 1850 and the Fugitive Slave Act, it was amended like the slave trade in Washington, D.C., and it was abolished.
When did this happen?
It was passed requiring Northerners to return runaway slaves to their owners under penalty of law. The Compromise of 1850 overturned the Missouri Compromise and left the overall issue of slavery unsettled.
How did this happen?
I mean, there were laws passed to provide return for slaves who escaped from the South into another state or territory.
Was it successful?
It was a failure because the opposition from both anti and pro-slavery Northern Whigs, Southern Democrats, each time I presented the compromise before the Senate, it didn't receive a majority vote, and I took over after.
And why is this?
It was controversial because all the bills that made up the compromise required citizens to assist in the recovery of fugitive slaves and denied them a jury trial.
Here's your report for the Compromise of 1850 and the Fugitive Slave Act.
And now we switch over to our reporter Will live from the
I'm
Kansas,
reporting
Nebraska
live from when the Kansas-Nebraska Act was passed. The Kansas-Nebraska Act was passed by the U.S. Congress on May 30th, 1854. It allowed people in the territories of Kansas and Nebraska to decide for themselves whether or not to allow slavery within their borders. The act repealed the Missouri Compromise of 1820, which prohibited slavery in the North. The Kansas-Nebraska Act infuriated many in the North who considered the Missouri Compromise to be a long-standing binding agreement. In the South, it was strongly supported. After the Kansas-Nebraska Act was passed, pro-slavery and anti-slavery supporters rushed in to settle to Kansas to affect the outcome of the first election, held after the law went into effect. Pro-slavery settlers carried the election but were charged with the law into effect. Pro-slavery settlers carried the election but were charged with fraud by the anti-slavery settlers, and the results were accepted by them. On this date, 163 years ago, the Kansas-Nebraska Act was passed in 1854 by Senator Stephen Douglas. The act served to repeal compromise which prohibited slavery in the North. Again, the Kansas-Nebraska Act was passed by U.S. Congress May 30th, 1854. It allowed people in the territory to decide whether if slavery was, okay within their borders, within the South or the North. Which in this case, the South completely agreed to it and keeping slavery, which on the other hand, North tried to abolish it, basically, and not allow the North to have slavery.
And now live from the Supreme Court, here's Ashley at the Dred Scott case.
This has been a long and stressful week for the North. Citizens of Boston are highly upset about the Dred Scott case. The court ruled that he was not a free citizen. Supreme Court Justice Roger Taney remarked that slaves were property that was protected under the Fifth Amendment. We are here live with the Supreme Court Justice Roger Taney and Dred Scott.
Because slaves were property, they cannot sue in federal court. Congress could not regulate slavery, and as a result, the Missouri Compromise was declared unconstitutional.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your time. And now we are here with Dred Scott to see how he feels about this.
Although I wanted to win this case terribly, I cannot do anything about the law. The Missouri Compromise, which prohibited a citizen from holding and owning slaves in the territory of the United States north of the line therein mentioned, is not warranted by the Constitution. It is therefore void, and that neither myself nor any of my family were made free by being carried into this territory. Sadly.
Wow, that is so sad to hear. I hope that your time as a slave is cut short and that they get rid of slavery. This is reporter Ashley Lowe. I am on my way back to the news station. As you can see, today has been a very depressing day. It is tragic, the loss of Dred Scott's case.
That's the end of the news tonight, so y'all can just change the channel now.